Hello, beautiful people. Happy Sunday night. It's N night. I didn't realize that night began with an N until I was just saying it. Okay, we got 3 good recovery words, I think. And every letter seems to play out the same way. There's like MVP words, that are just, it seems like everybody's voting on. Then there's some that just really strike me, and then there's usually an oddball one. Today, 2 of them really struck me, but one of them kept repeating. So let me get us started off with the first one, which has like a bunch of definitions. And when I first thought of it, I was thinking of it in the context of going outside and in the recovery sense, meditating or appreciating this N word, which is nature. The formal definition is the phenomena of the physical world collectively, including plants, animals, the landscape, and other features and products of the earth, as opposed to humans or human creations. So basically everything outside. Nature's beautiful. I love it. I love it more when it's warm nature than cold nature. And I love it more when it's furry nature instead of slimy nature. And then what I hadn't thought about was nature in the sense of it's in somebody's nature to be a certain way. And one of the N words I'm not using is nice. And one of the people who posted it, it's totally in her nature to be nice. She's one of the nicest people that I know, actually. It was enlightening to be reminded of these other definitions of nature. I know that this isn't meant to be like an English class, but I really do get educated, more smarter doing this with you. So hopefully it's good for you too. Okay. The next one, this was one of the popular ones, and I love it because I'm imagining it was popular in a lot of cases from a fitness arena or a health and wellness. But this one is a beautiful word for our lives and what we need to do in our recovery. And that is nourish. We need to nourish our recovery, right? And it says, here's one of the examples: provide with food or other substances necessary for growth, health, and good condition. And then keep a feeling or a belief in one's mind, typically for a long time. So nourishing is substances necessary for growth, health, and good condition. So when we're trying to be abstinent from gambling, drinking, whatever is in that bucket, but when we're trying to be abstinent, we have to nourish our bodies, especially if it's a physical substance or something that we're taking in our body. But nourishing our minds, that's the reading of the book or listening to music or going to group and listening to other people or doing web research. Nourishing your mind just keeps you going forward and helps you grow mentally. And then nourishing the soul, that's part of why we do the readings in the morning. That's part of my nourishment for the day, for my spirituality, for my recovery. I'm nourishing my recovery. So really, that word just really lit me up. And the last one's kind of fun. And I loved how it was framed online, because it was from one of the girls that I work with, and she called it out, clarifying what she meant. And the word was naked. And I think she wrote something to the effect of, as in bare one's soul. And of course, we probably all think first naked is with no clothes. And her definition, and then online, it's saying without the usual covering or protection. And in her case, she was talking about maybe her heart or her soul. And then exposed to harm, unprotected, or vulnerable. And I wasn't naked for a lot of years. And actually, it's funny because my biking buddy asked me if I sleep naked last week. And I was like, no. What if there's a fire alarm? Like, I'm too scared to sleep naked. Well, for many, many years, I was too scared to be naked as far as showing, my truth. And it was usually hidden behind, a sense of humor, or, I didn't want to be weak. I didn't want to be unprotected. I didn't want to be vulnerable. And I can remember so clearly one of the days that I really, really acknowledged it and got it. And I was sent a song, and the song's name was Naked. And this is what I, recommended to my friend today too. Like, you got to hear this song. And I listened to the song so many times. And finally one day it just was like, oh, I get it. It was about really opening up to another person. And it actually triggered me to write this crazy long email to the person who sent me the song. Like, oh my God, I get it. And, this is part of my growth and exposure. And just the fact that the light bulbs went on, it was like, okay, I'm starting to get more comfortable with being invulnerable. I'm starting to see the value to it. And I was thinking about this morning too, about being, maybe, is there such a thing as being too naked? letting it all hang out, so to speak, emotionally. No different than, we wouldn't be going to work naked and letting all our stuff hang out in front of our coworkers. Do we do that with our emotions and our stuff, for lack of a better word? So I liked that she brought that up in that context. And I am very grateful that I'm at a place that I can appreciate being emotionally emotionally naked, where I'm not hiding. And part of that comes with the actual feeling the feelings. It's one thing to discuss them, share them, be naked with them, by letting the world know our feelings. But the first part of that is feeling the feelings and getting to that place. And that's part of the beauty of getting to the naked part. And I think that's probably a big part of that came from rehab. I mean, it was, you're all in the same boat, and the counselors push, and there's just no hiding. You have to almost be vulnerable. And I mean, I guess you don't have to, but I don't know that it would work if you don't bother. I wish I could come up with a good analogy about being real naked versus emotionally naked, as far as the benefits of it. Well, I think I can. So if you're real naked, I'm going to have to hit the explicit box on this show because I'm going to talk about sex again. But if you're real naked, you can have more intimacy, more access to someone, for physical reasons. It's that same way with emotional naked. You can get closer to that person and, have a different level of intimacy from having your guard down and stuff. And that's a beautiful thing. it's a beautiful thing. I'm trying to make sure I'm positive because I the first person I did that to kind of crushed my heart. So it's okay. It was a good learning experience, and I think that I will be capable of it again. And the reason, so here's the thing, like my counselor would ask me, like, you're not going to close back up, like basically you're not going to get dressed and say F you to the world again. And I'm like, no, probably not. But what it is when you do that, or at least when I did this, when I got really, really naked in a relationship, super naked, it allowed me to, those feelings that I was talking about feel feelings that I didn't even know I was capable of feeling. And that's probably why I would be open to doing it again. Well, that is why I would be open to it again, because those feelings that you feel on the other side of it was like nothing I'd ever experienced before. They were so powerful. And don't get me wrong, I'm still trying to figure out how to get past them. And I don't think it'll be like tomorrow that anybody else gets me naked, but I know that it's worth it. I've at least experienced that it's worth it to feel those feelings, even if it isn't forever. So those are my N words. We are going to do tomorrow. Oh my. Get it? Oh my. Yeah, I'm getting silly. All right, folks. Thank you for listening. And thank you everybody for doing your N words. You know what would be so much fun? I should see what countries or places we have listeners with our first time letters too, or our letters too. Maybe I'll do that tomorrow, because I don't know. Well, let's see if I can pull it up quick enough while I talk to you. I hate being complete silence, but I was just talking to a friend about her potentially starting a podcast, and I was showing her some of what I can see, which is, town, like places, cities, sometimes countries. So for countries with an N, we have the Netherlands and New Zealand and Nigeria. That's pretty cool, huh? And I'm going to look real quick to see. Nassau, New York, Norwalk, Connecticut. This is kind of fun. I hadn't thought of this. So shout out to all my N cities. New Haven, Connecticut. North Vancouver, British Columbia. Shout out to Canada. Woohoo! Yeah, that's a little fun. We got lots of N towns. Hopefully, New Britain, Connecticut. I'm not going to go through the whole list because there's like hundreds and hundreds of towns on here that are listening. Thank you to everyone for that, by the way. But I don't want to miss anyone and offend them. So I'm not going to be able to do every town. But that's a fun way to look at it. I'll have to see if there's any O towns tomorrow. So that's it. Our weekend's winding down, and I hope that you had a productive or a fun one or whatever you wanted. I hope it was everything you wanted it to be. How's that? All right, beautiful people. I will chat with you in the morning. Have a great evening.